Hello children, and welcome to Shiloh Sunday School. My name's Donna. How have you all been? I do hope you've all had a fantastic week and have had a really good weekend. Well, today we're going to be learning a little bit about the miracles that Jesus performed whilst he was here on earth. So I'd like you to sit back, relax, and come and join me and find out about some of these miracles he performed. Are you ready? Feeding the 5,000. After learning from Jesus' followers went out to preach to others for a time. Then they returned to their teacher. "Let's go away and rest for a while," Jesus said. So they got into a boat and sailed for the other side of the Sea of Galilee. But the crowd saw Jesus and his disciples leave. Some of the people from all the nearby towns ran along the shore until they got to the place where Jesus was headed. When the boat landed, Jesus found a great crowd of people waiting for him there. Jesus felt so sorry for the crowd. He healed people who were sick and taught them many things. When evening came, the disciples said to Jesus, "It's getting late and there is nothing here for the people to eat. You'd better send them away so that they can buy some food in their villages." But Jesus replied, "You give them something to eat." His order shocked the disciples. They said, "It would take hundreds of dollars to get even bread for all these people. Do you want us to spend that much to buy them food?" "How much bread do you have?" Jesus asked. "Go and check." They came back and said, "We have only 5 loaves of bread and just 2 fishes. Then Jesus commanded everyone to sit down on the grass. He had them sit in groups of 50 or 100 people. In all, there were 5,000 men, not counting the women and children. Jesus took the bread and fish from the disciples. Then he looked up into heaven and gave God thanks. After his prayer, Jesus broke the bread and the fish into pieces. He gave this to the disciples, who passed it out to the people sitting in the groups. Everyone ate until they were full. After all had finished, the disciples gathered up what was left. They collected 12 full baskets of bread and fish. Jesus walks on the sea. After Jesus fed the great crowd with the 5 loaves and 2 fish, he had his disciples get into a boat and go back to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. Jesus himself stayed behind to dismiss the crowds. After sending them away, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. When evening came, he was alone on the hill. The boat in which the disciples were sailing was now far out on the Sea of Galilee. A strong wind had arisen and the waves were beating against the boat. Jesus could see that they were having trouble rowing because the wind was blowing in the wrong direction. About the 4th watch of the night, from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus came to the disciples walking upon the sea. When the disciples saw him coming across the water, they were terrified. "It's a ghost!" they cried. Immediately, Jesus spoke to them. He said, "Have courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Then Peter said, "Lord, is it really you? Order me to come to you on the water." Jesus ordered, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and started walking across the water to Jesus. But when Peter saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus quickly reached out his hand and caught Peter. "Oh, man of little faith, why did you doubt?" he said. When Jesus and Peter got into the boat, the wind stopped blowing. The astonished disciples said, "You truly are the Son of God." And they worshipped Jesus. The Transfiguration of Jesus. One day at Caesarea Philippi, Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do you say I am?" "You are the Christ, the Son of God," Peter answered. Then Jesus began to tell them how he must suffer and die. About a week after Peter's declaration, Jesus took 3 of the disciples, Peter and James and John, and went up on a mountain with them alone. As Jesus was praying before them, he was transfigured or changed in appearance. His clothes glistened and became white as the light. His face shone like the sun. Suddenly, the disciples saw Elijah and Moses, 2 of the great men of God of the Old Testament, talking to Jesus. Peter was confused and afraid. He said, "Lord, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 booths, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah." While Peter was still speaking, a bright cloud overshadowed them. A voice spoke out of the cloud saying, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Hearing this, the disciples were filled with awe and fell to their faces. Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up, don't be afraid." They saw that Jesus was now alone. As they were coming down the mountain later, Jesus told them, "Don't say anything to anyone about what you saw until the Son of Man is raised from the dead." The disciples asked Jesus, "Then why do the scribes, the teachers of the Jewish law, say that first Elijah must come?" "Elijah does come, and he is to restore all things," Jesus answered. "But I tell you that Elijah has already come." Jesus continued, "Yet they did not know him and did what they pleased to him. So also the Son of Man will suffer at their hands," he said. Then the disciples understood that Jesus was talking about John the Baptist. A blind man sees. One Sabbath day, Jesus noticed a man who had been blind all his life. The disciples asked him, "Was this man born blind because of his parents' sins or his own sins?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. This has happened so that the work of God might be shown in his life." Jesus spat on the ground and made some mud. He put this on the man's eyes. Then Jesus said to him, "Go and wash in the pool of Siloam." When the man did as Jesus said, he could see. His neighbours were amazed. "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?" they asked one another. "Yes, it is I," the man said. He told them his story. Then they took him to the Pharisees, and again he told his story. The Pharisees said, "This Jesus is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others asked, "How can a sinner do such miracles?" Finally, they asked the blind man, "What do you say about the man who opened your eyes?" "The man is a prophet," he said. The Jews still did not believe that the man had really been blind. They sent for his parents and asked, "Is this your son? Was he born blind? And how can he see now?" His parents said, He is our son, and he was born blind. But we don't know how he can see." The Pharisees again said to the man, "We know this Jesus is a sinner." The man replied, "I don't know about that, but I do know that I can now see." They asked him to tell the story again. "Why?" he asked. "Do you want me to become his disciple? Do you want to become one of his disciples?" The angry Pharisee said, "You are his disciple. You are disciples of Moses." And they threw the man out of the synagogue. Jesus heard what had happened. When he found the man, Jesus asked him, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" "Who is he?" the man asked in reply. Jesus said, "You have now seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you." Then the man said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped Jesus. Oh, well, I hope that you've all enjoyed reading with me about some of the miracles that Jesus performed while he was alive here on earth. Do have a fantastic week, and I hope to see you all again next Sunday. Take care and be good. Bye. Bye for now.
Hello Sunday School. I really hope you enjoyed listening to your story from Sister Donna about all of the wonderful miracles that Jesus performed when he was here on earth. Today's task, we're going to be looking at one of those miracles, which was when he fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish. 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. So we're going to be making a miracle basket today. And what you will need for this task are some colouring pens, 2 pieces of plain paper and 1 piece of lined paper, some scissors and some glue. I hope I've remembered everything. So off you go and get that, and I will see you in a moment. So for the second part of the task, you are going to need your lined paper. Now I'm just going to colour my lined paper in 2 lines at a time. So I'm going to take my pen. It doesn't have to be super neat at all. Just make sure that you're just using 2 lines per colour. Okay? Try and cover as much white as you can. So again, just scribble along, that's absolutely fine. And blue. Now this is a basket, but you can have your basket whatever colour you like, okay? So again, be as creative, but what you should think about is that you want your basket to be contrasting colours to the colours that you coloured your fish in, okay? So you don't want the same coloured fish as you have basket. So I've gone for slightly darker colours for my basket. So keep colouring along like that. Again, like I said, doesn't have to be extra neat until you have coloured all of your sheeting like this, okay? Then you're just going to take your scissors, which I've lost mine, there you go, and cut along the lines. So I'm going to cut my paper into strips like this. So cut along the lines. Okay. Again, doesn't have to be extra neat, but just try and stay within those colours as best you can. Okay, keep putting that into strips. There you go, until you have lots of strips like this. Okay, so here are all my strips once I've got all of my my paper out, and now I'm going to start to make my basket. So I'm going to take one strip like this, and then I'm going to take a different colour and make an L shape, and I'm just going to stick that into place. So I've got a little L shape like this, okay? Then, because I've put the first one on top, I'm going to take a different colour, so I'll use a red one this time, and I'm going to go underneath and just pop that into place. Now it doesn't have to be really close to it. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of a gap there. Just keep going along, add in a little bit of sellotape as you go, just to try and keep that in place. So because this one went underneath, where do you think the next one's going? That's right, over. So I'm going to stick the next one on top, okay, and keep going along all the way, different colour again, so making sure I'm using contrasting colours, going under and over all the way to the end. Let me try and find, there you go, oh no, a different colour to keep going along my sheet. Sorry, that should have been over the top. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. You end up with a skirt looking thing like this. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what I do with the other half. So I haven't completed this one yet, but I'll just show you what you do on the other side of it. So I've got a sheet like this. Okay, so once you have gone all the way to the end of your line, you're now going to start weaving. So I'm going to take one of my strips and I'm going to feed it under and then over the next one, and then under and then over and then under. Okay, and I'm just going to stick that in place. Now it really doesn't matter where the sellotape goes, just as long as it's holding everything in place for you. Okay, I'm going to take another different colour, and again this time same method, same technique. I'm going to go over this time and then under and then over. This is the fun part, it's quite therapeutic. Over, under, and you can see your basket starting to take shape. Okay, you peel it off the table. So you start to bring your basket together, and in the end you should end up with a shape like this. Now just looks like a square, woven square, but we're going to make it into a basket. So I'm just going to cut my basket into shape. So I'm going to make some round edges like this. Okay, and on the other side, cut along the bottom, just cut those extra bits off the bottom. That's it. And then this is the top of my basket, so you can see the basket taking shape there. Cut along the top. And I like that it doesn't have an edge to the top of my basket. It's quite an old basket. Let me just get rid of that rubbish. Okay, and here's your basket. Now you're going to take your second piece of paper and you're just going to put your basket on the edge of that paper. So line it up at the bottom like this. Let me try and show you. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a little line that tells me where the top of my basket is. Okay, so once I take my basket away, I'm going to stick it down in a moment. I know now that this area is my basket, so the top of here is where I need to put my bread. So I'm going to start drawing my bread batons. Okay, how many loaves did Jesus have? That's right, 5 loaves. So I'm going to draw my 5 loaves, and you should end up with a basket like this. So I have 5 loaves, and I've just stuck a little fish on there. Now this will be your fish. Now I only made 1, but you're going to make 2. So we're going to assemble our basket now and turn this into our miracle basket. So I'm going to take some sellotape, a little bit fiddly. I don't have one I made earlier. So I'm going to stick my basket down like this. Okay, and you can see my little fish's head popping out the top. Not much of a miracle basket yet, nearly getting there. I'm going to take my concertina fish. Okay, that's one of them. And I am going to stick this down to my basket. Okay, so I'm going to make a little ball. If you've got glue or Pritt stick, That'll be so much better than my sellotape. That's just about working with me. Okay, and I'm going to stick my fish in the top of my basket like that. Okay, so what I have now, hopefully this works, is, let me just get another bit of sellotape. I'll tell you what to do with this. Okay, you're just going to take it and you're going to stick the top fish down so it doesn't pop up like that. Okay, so what I have now is my 5 loaves and 2 fish. But Jesus, we know that Jesus fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish. So what had to happen? The fish had to multiply. So there you go. There are my multiple fishes. And obviously you would have your other fish here that would drop down too. And there we go. That's how we made lots of fish out of just 2 fish and 5 loaves. Now you could do the same technique with your loaf. So you could have, instead of drawing a fish on your concertina, you could draw a loaf of bread. Do the same technique, colour lots of bread in, stick that on so your bread also multiplies, okay? And that basket just keeps overflowing the way it did for Jesus when he fed the 5,000. And there is your miracle basket. I hope you enjoyed making it. Take care and I will see you soon. Okay, so for the first part of today's task, we're going to start by making our fish. And we're going to take one piece of our A4 paper and we're going to make a fold in it like that. Just fold the edge over and then just press along. Turn it over onto the other side and make another fold. Now try as best you can to make sure that the fold is the same width, okay? You can see that I'm pressing along the edges there. Turn it over again. Okay, so your paper's getting a little bit shorter as you go along. Another fold, so it's like you're making a big fan. Okay, fold over again. Now mine does get a little bit out of sync, but that's okay, don't worry. Fold it over again and keep going all the way to the end, okay? And it doesn't matter if the last one, like mine, is a little bit shorter because that will just be the flap that you need at the end. So just press along the sides. You have a nice bag. It's a bit hot in here. Okay. So once you've done this, you then cut that in half. So make sure that you're putting your thumb, and make sure you've got an adult with you, but put your thumb in the middle. To make sure that you know where the center is, and just cut that in half. Okay, so you should end up with 2 little pieces like this. You're then going to draw a fish shape on your piece of paper. Now you've got to make sure that all you're doing is drawing a curve like this, okay, and then a triangle of this side and a triangle opposite. So let me just show you that a little bit closer. Okay, now you can notice that I haven't cut my fish around the shape. My fish has gone like it's gone off the page. That's for a reason, okay? So once you've got to this stage, we can do the same on the other side. So again, semicircle, triangle, and another triangle, okay? Like that. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut around the semicircle and cut my fish out. Now I've got to be careful to make sure that all of the paper is lined up before I start. Just cut around like this. Cut my triangle out on one side and cut my triangle out on the other side. Okay, so I should end up with a shape like this. So it doesn't look much like a fish at the moment, so let's try and make it into one. I am going to draw a big eye, an eyebrow, smiley face on my fish, and then just the top part of his head, okay? Looking a little bit more like a fish. Now I've got a clever way, I hope, of colouring this in. So I'm just going to put some colour here before I've drawn anything else on it. Doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be super neat, it just has to be nice and bright and vibrant. I've chosen 3 colours here, and then I'm just going to do some things down there. Okay, so I have my colourful fish like this. It's still not looking quite like a fish, so I'm going to put some scales on, and that's when you see your little fishy come to life. Okay, so you could be really creative with this part. You could have polka dot fish, you could have multicolored fish, you could make a little bit of a pattern. It's really up to you. Oh, my pen's running out. Okay, I'm going to improvise. Pen's run out, didn't bank for that. So I do have one I made earlier. So here's my little fish. Okay, swimming along, and you then open up your fish like this. You can see you've got lots of fish there, and you just go along and you paint or colour lots of different colours on each fish. You don't need to do the last one, which is your tab, which is your shorter one. Okay, so in the end it should look like this. So here is one I made earlier. So I've got my fish, but when you open it up, I have a selection of fish in all different colours, okay, going along like that. You see that? Okay, don't worry about this one. This is just my flat, okay? Good. So, Sunday School, there you have it. I really hope you enjoyed making your miracle baskets with me today. I certainly had lots of fun making them with you. One thing that I need you to remember is that even though the Lord performed that miracle and many others 2,000 years ago, He is still in the miracle working business. Do you know why I know that? Because He made you, and you are a miracle. I love you all. I'll see you very soon. Really excited about our next task, and I will see you next week. God bless. Bye-bye.